Blog Talk Radio.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, who of all ages, from Covington, Oklahoma, South Monroe Street, school is now in session with your on. And here is your teacher and host, Sean Stopp.
No, seriously, everybody have a seat. Didn't you hear that second bell ring? Okay, with roll call check, class is hereby in session. Good evening, Blog Talk Radio guests, to my classroom. This is not a hump day, but rather quoted from the great Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, whom I am very happy with because he defeated John Cena at WrestleMania. He said, Wednesday is getting its keister kicked so bad that Thursday is asking Friday to switch places. It's the first Wednesday of April, in which showers will bring Mayflowers, and seeing how as bipolar as Okie weather is, hopefully tomorrow we won't see snow. You see, I get up at 3 a.m. to leave my house by 4 a.m. to reach my workplace at 5 a.m. And this morning was cold, and I'm talking one of them dogs sticking to the hydrants cold. And only early birds such as myself understand this. But I know there's a couple of listeners out there that are early birds as well. You've decided to stay up and listen to this, and I appreciate that. But the cold weather is the price we pay to live here in the Sooner State. Can I get a boomer sooner? Or more importantly, can I get a thunder up, in which we will discuss here in a few seconds. So hello and welcome to You're On. I am your host, Sean Stopp. You may remember me from the 90s commercial bumpers on MTV as the Almighty Tiki God. And no, Sean Stopp is not a stage name. And that especially goes for all you Grandview doozies who are not on my Facebook. You know who you are. That used to say in class, hey, Sean, stop. In which my response would be, what time are you due back in Boys Town? So this is numero uno episode on this Quattro of April, amigo. Let's get started with class. Tonight, on the show, live and direct from Bartlesville, Oklahoma, birthplace of my oldest son, number one son. I have video game guru and designer, LeOtis Hall, in the house. And we'll get to my homie in just a second, but first, a few starters in regards to the show. Contact. You want to contact me, feel free to do so at youronbtr@ymail.com. Youron being all one word, YOURON, BTR for Blog Talk Radio. Thank you very much, Blog Talk Radio, for having us on the air at ymail.com. And you can also check out our website at www.wix.com/Sean Stopp, my name all the way across, one word, two N's, two P's. I'm not going to do that Jeff Jarrett thing. /Youron, all one word. I know it's a long website, folks. I haven't got a domain yet. But if this thing takes off, I will. I promise. Okay? For more details, you can also follow me on Twitter. This one's easy. It's just /Youron with Sean, all one word. Now, as far as Facebook, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to email me your name, and I have to find you, because right now, folks, Facebook is giving me problems. It's not letting me pick out a username because Facebook is being Facebook. It's just got issues, okay? But if you follow You're On Facebook and or Twitter, I will give you a shout-out on a future show just to show my appreciation for you listening. It's late and it's midweek, and you choose to be here, so I thank you. And also, if you have a birthday or know somebody that's having an up-and-coming birthday, let us know here at You're On, and I'll throw you a birthday shout-out. And speaking of which, I have three, count them three, Trace birthdays to mention.
You say it's your birthday. It's my birthday, too. Don't be that, okay?
Hey, Jude. The absolute first birthday will take place on the 6th. And me and this cat go all the way back to kindergarten. And unfortunately, he's at Tahlequah City Hospital as we speak. He let me know he wasn't going to be listening to the show. So best wishes go out to him, for starters, in getting well soon. But in regards to the 9th, Rowdy Joe Ford, happy birthday, amigo. We've been down since kindergarten, man. I tell you what, Mrs. Wright, she's looking down on us, and she's smiling happy and proud. Birthday number 2 is going to take place on the 9th, and this guy is somebody I have absolutely mucho respecto for, Lee Corey, on the 9th. And then, of course, I have to acknowledge a birthday that took place yesterday. Our very own Patricia Meyer, who is one of the postal employees down in Covington, folks, I sang happy birthday to her. I kid you not, I did. And so, happy belated birthday yesterday to Patricia Meyer. I'm sure her daughter Amber's listening, and she'll probably tell her all about it. And even though it's not a birthday, I do have to mention my lovely wife, Joni, who, for no reason at all, decided to spoil me and buy me a tablet. I don't know why. I don't deserve it, but she did. So, before I introduce the guest tonight, the number to call is 347-633-9630. That's 347-633-9630. Now, quickly, in some news, we'll get into the WWE, the return of Brock Lesnar. Now, this is a good thing and a bad thing. It's a good thing because I really don't see any good things about it, because I saw this guy on the UFC, his past couple of fights, and I just basically watched him get the monkey snot beat out of him. And I also remember him leaving ring one time, and The Undertaker happened to be at ringside, and he said to him, "You want to do it?" So maybe Lesnar's stupid enough to want to do it. Who knows? Okay, who knows? But here's the thing. I mentioned the WWE because in this household, Monday night is wrestling night. No question about it. However, the Thunders versus Grizzlies game was TiVo'd, and I took a look at it. Wasn't too impressive with the Memphis Grizzlies beating us 94-88, but more importantly, Rudy Gay, I don't think the guy learned how to play the fundamentals of basketball. I think, and it's kind of appropriate, we're going to be talking about video games, I think he learned by watching Arch Rivals. You remember that one? I'm sure some of you old school people remember the video game Arch Rivals. But anyway, here's my wish. I hope that the Grizzlies have to face San Antonio and winner plays Thunder. Now, I know that's not the case, because I know it's going to be either the Rockets or the Nuggets. And I'm hoping for the Thunder's sake. Thunder up, there's the Rockets. But anyway, on a side note, before I get out of the sports thing, I couldn't help but notice that there was a lot of people jumping on the Kansas bandwagon. Now, listeners like Tricia Mills, who's a loyal fan, I can understand. But then these people that just jump on the bandwagon because, you know, they got some good heat going on, jumped off that bandwagon when they lost to Kentucky. But here's what really irritates me. And I don't want to sound like the sports animal, because I'm nowhere near what this guy is. But I notice that I've been getting a lot of flack from a lot of people saying, you know, you spell you're on Y-O-U''re. Guys, I'm intentionally misspelling it. I'm showing that I'm human and I make mistakes. That's one thing. It's kind of paying homage to one of my favorite Will Smith movies, Road to Happiness. And I could be wrong about that. I'm sure somebody's going to correct me about that too. And no, Sean Hanrahan, I'm not talking about you when you said that to me. And no, I'm not talking about my wife either. This is just people in general. I was trying to do my best Nellie Olson impression. That wasn't the case. The thing that gets me is you want to talk about misspelling, and I'm the worst at it. I mean, I could take all my misspellings and my bad grammar and fall into a Lothairian abyssal over the whole thing. But here's the bad thing. The NCAA is advertising the Final Four in Atlanta, spelling it Alanta. I mean, come on, guys. You know, get a grip. Get with it. Get with the program. Currently, weather outside is 55, and it's going to drop down to 50 overnight. Tomorrow, high in the 70s, sunny, up to 73 on Friday, as well as Easter Sunday. And in saying that, I would like to introduce our guest. I've been friends with this guy for nearly 20 years. He's a brilliant genius. He is my brother from another mother. And before I get into the interview with him one more time, I'd like to reiterate the number to call is 347-633-9630. That's 347-633-9630. And in saying that, I would like to welcome a very special person who is a video game guru and video game designer. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for my man. Oh gosh, I could just go on and on about this guy, LeOtis Hall. LeOtis, welcome to You're On.
Hey,
how you doing?
Leon, I'm doing good. I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. I'm anxiously awaiting this night. You know, we're talking Sonic and Sega, so yeah, I'm a big fan of both.
Oh, me too. Anybody that knows me knows the same thing. But before we get into this, I think you and I should throw a shout out to our homie Sean Hooker, who's been down with Sonic from day one. So
yeah,
anyway.
he wasn't as good as us on Sonic. You know, he was mostly a Street Fighter guy, but you know, yeah, he's had his Sonic moments. Most of them frustrating.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, you mentioned Street Fighter. I mean, he was basically doing that after he turned the video controller off. Am I right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. So, like I said before, I've known LeOtis for nearly 20 years now. Back in Beeville, back in the day, he's still kicking it up there. And in the process, he told me back then he was going to be designing video games. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? He is here to tell us about Platform X. And if you could, LeOtis, you have the floor. I want you to tell us a little bit about Platform X, then we'll talk about Sonic. So,
all right,
Platform X, sir.
Well, back when I first wanted to design games, my favorite game in the world was Strider by Capcom. I mean, the guy was jumping, using his little plasma sword, you know, had these little robots that walk with him, you know, and I always wanted to do something like that, but I wanted to make it realer, you know. First off, the graphics are CG, you know, CGI. All the characters are more or less, I designed them using Poser and 3DS. Backgrounds as well, but I like keeping things simplistic. I love 2D. You know, while 3D has its place, 2D has its place in platformers, you know, such as Sonic. They should have never moved Sonic out of the realm of 2D. That's the reason why I love Generations so much. But it is 2D, guys. Yeah, and there's the basics. You got your jump, you got your swing, you know, and the name of the game will be changed, but right now we're calling it Project Platformer X because it is a platformer. It is 2D. And when I say I wanted to do it more realistically, you know, there's the backgrounds are basically what you would see when you walk outside. You know, you got your concrete buildings, your road structures, telephone poles, you know. It's kind of like a cross between, I'd say, a modern-day Strider with a Final Fight backdrop, you know, more or less like that. You know, there's no off-the-wall superpowers, but there is a decent amount of action and some puzzle elements that I'm throwing in there, you know, keeping it truly respectful of what video games, you know, as I was growing up were and should have never moved away from, because I'm sorry, anyone who's played their fair share of 3D games will tell you, you know, not all 3D is good 3D. You know, when you take and put it on a levy, there's more good 2D games out that came out during the, you know, 16-bit wars, and, you know, than there ever was 3D games that came out during the 32-bit, 64-bit, 128-bit wars. So,